Oh, hello. Today I want us to go through a very interesting concept and very simple. I'll try to keep it simple. So, you've had these buzz about AI, machine learning, and everything. Everyone is switching to AI literally. And what we have here is a thought of like, what does it happen? How do organizations, leverage on AI in terms of making processes simpler and all that. It's everyone's questions, and also comes the questions of hallucinations across these models. Yeah, you might be doing a very nice concept all the way, put an hour in it, 2 hours, 3 hours. Then, well, in the fifth hour, you give it another prompt, and it gives you totally unrelated content and destroys your document altogether. Then you try to reorganize the thoughts and all that. Yeah, so then also looking at organizations, yeah, policies are coming in every now and then, changes in terms of SOPs, how you run things. Now we have also like cable are coming into place. You need to do content around it and all that. Yeah, so then how do we leverage AI in terms of now making things simpler for your employees? You know, you might the other day there was this case of this lady who just queried and asked like, she's part of the staff, so she's like, ChatGPT knows everything, so how is our leave policy? And you see, it's not exposed to your knowledge base. So these machines are as bright or as knowledgeable as the data they're exposed to. Yeah, so that's where RAG comes in. Yeah, that's the Retrieval-Augmented Generation. So what this happens is that besides the knowledge it has in terms of what's crowdsourced and what it has been trained through this model, we give it extra information. Now it becomes like has access to your knowledge base. Then from this knowledge base, people can actually query around now the enterprise sort of queries. Yeah, SOP, what does this state about someone maybe losing their laptop? What should I do? What are the measures? Yeah, you might have a document that's like 250 pages, 300. Very few people, or rather maybe 1% have time to go through it, and maybe they enjoy reading, right? But the others are like, you just want specific information in and around maybe your operations. What does it state in terms of your KPIs for your department? What counts, what doesn't count, and all that. Yeah. So I did a simple project recently where now I just be showcasing how I use drag in terms of even querying my CV, trying to understand what kind of person I am just from the info I'm giving it, and also now it's able to give me responses and all that. It was just a simple use case, and I also gave it an instance of a financial organization, right, that gives loans and all that. So for it, just to summarize for me what the document looks like, what amounts have been stated, does it look fair according to like the law and all that, what does the law take and talk about this document, is it contradictory and such. So I'll be showcasing that, and that's the whole thing about now the thoughts around it. Yes, so with my local Copilot, I just want to maybe make it things a little bit fun. Maybe my CV there, I can just ask it to, just summarize maybe something about this document that's in here, and see it's other info, and perhaps what I do and all that. Some of this it couldn't tell that I'm a continuing student, yeah, for masters. I don't yet. I'm yet to hold this degree, so this is part of perhaps what it would not interpret in terms of the summary. Then maybe I can ask it. Does Simon know how to swim? And see what there is about it. So, the probably didn't mention his knowledge, his activities. Okay, this is fine. Yeah, so we're just trying to see if it works within the guardrails of the provisioned document. Then you can just say, could he be a good fit? For what? Maybe for an accountant role, for instance. Just see, some um, okay. So technical background, beneficiary, all that. Okay, that's nice. So yeah, mine has been mainly in IT and all that. Could he do apps and such? Just want to see, just yeah. This is it. Okay. Yeah. So this is just some of the things you can play around it. So think about it like maybe how you could have maybe your SOPs, and now your staff can reference to it and be able to work in the contextualized sort of environment. So just pull these Mogo PDF and say, "Hi, summarize this doc for me." Let's see what happens. Yeah, so the speed is so much dependent on the platform you're running it, your specs and all that. So I'm running it on just my Mac and all that. So it's a loan agreement between you, a borrower, and the lender. Interest, penalties. If the borrower dies, becomes insane and all that. Okay. You should be review the document to understand all the terms. Okay. Let me just ask it if what costs are mentioned in the document. Just trying to see what sort of costings and all that could be in this document. And yeah, so you can easily deploy these application to your maybe premises, on-prem servers, cloud, depends, but the whole thing is to keep it local. So that means it's for people maybe with internet challenges and all that. You can have in one of your servers in the offices, or maybe in a remote area, then people can query and get info based on what you need it running from. Yeah, so it will learn, and also remember it has also old time data that it has been trained. So this basically we're just trying to confine it, or rather it's still an open model that will always, from the documentation, so you can always know when it was last trained, so you can know which data it has. So some of these models, based on when they happened, the issues happened, you might find, like now if you look at maybe what has been happening lately, maybe Ebola cases and all that, yeah, it might not be able to understand because of when it was last trained and the data it has. So whatever we are doing here now on top of it is now what is called RAG. You'll hear guys in AI and ML mentioning RAG and all that. It's basically a augmented generation. So there is that you're connecting it now to extra knowledge bases. So you're adding more knowledge to it and try and see if it can well understand and get to absorb this new information. So okay, back to it. Let's not digress so much. So there are several costs. There are penalties, interest, other charges, adverse listing fees, collection agency fees. So this is what they say. Maybe they are reprocessing the unit. This is where I think they reference this one. Yeah, exactly. If Mugo reprocesses the asset, sells it to a third party, such as the borrower will be responsible for any cost associated with this process. Okay, this cost are not quantified. Okay, so they are not quantified to it. What percentages been mentioned anyway in the document? Too much typos. I'll just click on this one and see if there's anything they mentioned in that document that runs around it. So I think I can also try and open this document in another tab just to understand how there is about it. Okay, after reading, I found that there are no specific mention of being mentioned in the document. There might be a loan agreement, it doesn't include any percentages. So how soon they disburse? Do they disburse
borrowing. For instance, it's just any information you may be thinking. I'm just trying to be, creative or otherwise in terms of what I'm querying from this information. If at all there's something, claims this person was within after receiving necessary. They also mentioned they have a faster process for managing and provided the broader script organize peer-to-peer learning platform. Don't have control to enter the facilitator. Okay. Getting recommend checking the website and contact the customer. So this is now like it trying to tell you like some of the info that's missing on that document. You can, where to retrieve it perhaps and all that. Yeah? So is our data safe with them? And what data do they want to collect? Let's see. What is this? Okay. Okay. This is some of the data that's being shared. So they have. Okay. So this is what they get. Income information. Privacy policies. Okay. The security measures. Okay. Compliance. Okay. The financial details. Okay. Also, they've promised security regular audits and all that compliance. Okay, that's something. Yeah, but basically, this is something to enjoy querying, do your own stuff, and it's very localized and contextual. So you can always decide how much info you want. So if you have to switch from maybe a strict mode, you can easily ask it. What is the Kenyan law? I think I'm fast on I think the left one is slower. What is the Kenyan law stating in regard to the terms mentioned in the document? Something. Just see. Yeah, so these are just some of the low sort of what's it called? Low sort of implementation of this AI and all that. Appears to be based on various some relevant regulations that may be relevant. Yeah. So there's the Consumer Protection, Fine Protection, Electronics Act, the Contract Act. In terms of relevance, may require argument to be fair and not misleading. Okay.
Just so you know also is that with these models, you can always, download them and run them locally. So what that means is that should you be held in a very remote area where you have zero or close to very limited access to the internet, these things can run actually on their own within your servers. Then from there, some of them are open source, like Llama. I use Llama for my case, and now convert my Python code into a web app and package it as such using Streamlit. So these are very simple concepts. They are doing lots of heavy lifting for you. Then from there, you have an interface where people can chat, talk about anything, ask about like what's happening, what's not happening. If even you have maybe kids in remote areas, they can always learn a few things now. Yeah, and part of what you need to know is that most of these models are trained up to a certain date. So there's need to check also when this model was last trained and what information it has. Yeah, like now we have the whole thing about Ebola in Nanyuki, for instance, right? So some of these have information up to 2022, some of these have information up to 2024. So it's quite good to draw that disclaimer so that you don't get so much of old data that is quite not factual, or rather not up to date based on current happenings and all that. Yeah, but for any information that you give it a guardrail. So if, for instance, I want it to stick to a certain topic and I have a document towards that topic, it will talk about that topic in entirety of the much information that's in there. And you can also allow it to be more creative. That's all up to you in terms of, now the more it gets creative, the more there are chances of it hallucinating. So it's a trade-off between now it being creative and it going all the way to hallucinations. Yeah.